The clear and present danger of disinformation.
Yes, welcome back. If you remember, at some point I did a video about Brian Stelter being at a World Economic Forum where he talked about misinformations online. Recently, got it all wrong again. Brian Stelter claps back at Joe Rogan over claims his bosses are the lizard people of the World Economic Forum.
The clear and present danger of disinformation is our conversation here this afternoon. It follows a session just now about disrupting distrust, and of course those are connected, so I hope that's where we can start. I'm Brian Stelter, formerly of CNN, now a fellow at Harvard University. We can try to put some real information out into the world to make up for all the crazy. I'll tell you a brief, funny, maybe not funny story. So I leave CNN with regards to 2016 and Trump showing that lying works. Has that only become more true in the last 6 years? Do you see evidence that it's less true, hopefully, now? But haven't we seen many Democrats in the last 6 years pressuring Facebook and Twitter and now TikTok to be stronger in content moderation? Hasn't that been a wave that we've seen crash over for years now?
Well, I think this is the question of, ultimately what we're trying to achieve there is some measure of public safety. Right? We're not, sure, there are some politicians who are going to go out and just get angry at Facebook if they see things that are mean. The difference is when, I have a constituency that I'm trying to keep healthy and I can't get them to take a COVID vaccine because of misinformation that's propagated.
Rogan discussed the global summit in Davos, Switzerland last month with journalist Martabi when Stelter name came up, both men mocking Stelter appearance on a panel which came just shortly after his reliable source was cancelled at CNN. According to Stelter, he had no bosses at the panel like Rogan mocking suggested. Stelter went to Davos at his own expenses. Joe Rogan got it all wrong again. The World Economic Forum did not hire me to work in Davos. I went there on my own dime to write about the conference. Stelter tweeted in response to a media article covering the Rogan and Tabi interview. Stelter also responded to a story from the New York Post about Rogan's comment telling Rogan to call him if Rogan wants to tell his listener the truth. I normally ignore Rogan's rant, but the New York Post wrote a story and asked for comment, so I said, if Rogan wants to tell his listener the truth, he can call me, he tweeted. Like you can see here on the tweet, Rogan podcast, he and Tabi mocked Stelter for looking so comfortable at the summit. He is with evil lizard people that are trying to control the world. That is his bosses. He knows how to handle that kind of situation. Rogan said,
and Stelter is now at the World Economic Forum. What can we do about these problems?
He looked very comfortable there, didn't he?
Of course he does. He's with evil lizard people that are trying to control the world. That's his bosses. He knows how to handle that kind of situation. I've been around these evil lizard people.
He looked as happy as maybe he's ever been.
Well, he's probably very excited just to be working again in any way, shape, or form.
That's true.
He's not a guy that really is supposed to be in front of a camera, right? He's supposed to be a journalist, but he's not even good at that. So what he's doing now is holding water for the evil leaders of the world who want to institute hate speech policies nationwide and, centralized digital currency, and they want everybody to eat bugs, and you will own nothing and be happy. This people he's working for now. Because he's basically a product. And, they hired him to go over there and do that. And he's like, what can we do? What can we do better? Yeah. What can we do different to get everybody to stand in line?
Yeah.
What can we do?
And for a journalist to sit there was that one moment where that woman, Vera Jourova, she's an EU official, and she's talking about hate speech laws, and then she touches the knee of somebody sitting next to her and saying, "You're going to have that in America soon."
Yeah.
And Brian Stelter is sitting there grinning. Yeah. Like that's not offensive to him. Like a European basically saying, "Oh yeah, you're going to have this too soon." Like even though it's completely antithetical to everything that we believe in this country. Like
Well, I think when you're working in a corporate news structure, and you could speak to this better than I could, obviously, but I think when you're working in an environment where you have editors and people in your ear, and you have producers, and you have narratives that the company is pushing, and then you have sponsorships that you're beholden to. It's very difficult to form any sort of problematic or controversial independent thought and then try to express it publicly. You're not going to do it. It's just too scary and sketchy. So when you're trying to keep that job, and here's a guy like Brian Stelter who already lost one of the biggest gigs in all of broadcast news. He was on CNN. And then, here he's standing there and they're saying, you're going to have hate speech laws in America too. He's like, okay, everything's running.
Joe Rogan said it all. Though Brian Stelter is struggling to refuse this, that he went to World Economic Forum in his pocket. But I'm wondering how you will decide to pay a visit somewhere. At the end of the day, you are leading a panel. He was the head of this panel where they talked about disinformation, misinformation online. When you watch this Joe Rogan clip very keenly, you realize he was very sure of what he was saying, struggling to pinpoint what was going on. I have seen a lot of videos where he has been calling out what this guy was doing way back with CNN. Now, taking a look at what happened at the World Government Summit, there is a clip you have not seen. Elon Musk said some things to world leaders that they should focus on their voices. He talked about Twitter, what is going on.
Elon, we have over 150 government within the World Government Summit, global leaders. They have 8 billion customers, their citizens. How government can use Twitter better to serve its citizens?
Yeah, well, I think generally I would recommend, really communicating a lot on Twitter, and I think it's good for people to speak in their voice as opposed to how they think they should speak. Sometimes like people think, well, I should speak in this way that is expected of me, but it ends up sounding, I think, at times somewhat stiff, and not real. Like if you read a press release from a corporation, it just sounds like propaganda. So I would encourage CEOs and of companies and legislators and ministers and so forth to speak authentically, and to if there's a particular policy, to explain it, and I think there's sometimes a concern about criticism, but I think at the end of the day, having some criticism is fine. It's really not that bad. I'm constantly attacked on Twitter, frankly, and I don't mind. You have to be somewhat thick-skinned, I suppose, at times. Just because they really will try to twist the knife. But I think just like I said, just as a forum for communication.